All right. We have p of x with the following characteristics. A root of -1, where the graph touches and turns, a 0 of 2i, an x-intercept of 4, and a negative leading coefficient. We want to write the equation of the polynomial in standard form. So let's take each of these. A root of -1 tells us that x is equal to -1. Where the graph touches and turns. Graphs touch and turn with even multiplicity. If we have a 0 of 2i, that means that x is equal to 2i. And by the conjugate roots theorem, we know x is equal to -2i. You cannot have just one I. We have an x-intercept of 4, which means that x is equal to 4. And we have a negative leading coefficient. You can choose whatever negative number you want. I'm going to choose a equal to -1. So let's start putting this all together. X equal to -1 gives us a factor of x plus 1. And he has even multiplicity, so he is going to be squared. We have x equal to 2i, which means his factor is going to be x minus 2i. We have, by the conjugate roots theorem, x equal to -2i, which means that we get x plus 2i. And we have x equal to 4, which means his factor is x minus 4. We put this all together. We have p of x is equal to our negative leading coefficient of -1 times x plus 1 squared times x minus 2i, x plus 2i, and x minus 4. This is in factored form. They want standard form. So a couple of things that you need to pay attention to. When you have x plus 1 squared, that came from x plus 1 times x plus 1. I'm going to carry the rest down. All right. When we're doing the multiplication, we've already said that you need to make sure that you multiply the i's together. So we will be doing that. And we need to multiply some other stuff together as well. So I'm going to start with the x plus 1, and then we'll do the i's. So starting with the x plus 1, I'm going to do that in pink. I'm going to color code. X times x gets us x squared. X times 1 gets us positive 1x, or x. 1 times x gets us another x, and 1 times 1 gets us plus 1. Simplifying, I have x squared plus 2x plus 1. Dragging my -1 down. Okay, let's multiply the i's. X times x gets us x squared. X times 2i gets us plus 2ix. Inside, -2i times x is -2ix. And -2i times positive 2i gets us a -4i squared. And my x minus 4 is alone for the right. Simplifying my blue part, where I have my i's multiplied together, notice that the middle terms cancel. If they didn't, something went wrong. And we also know that I squared is equal to -1. So we're going to have x squared minus 4 times negative 1, plugging in for our I squared. And then again, my x minus 4 is just along for the ride. Notice that I'm keeping my negative 1 just along for the ride. I had my x squared plus 2x plus 1. My x squared minus 4 times negative 1 becomes x squared plus 4. And we have our x minus 4 still along for the ride. We need to do some more multiplication. I'm not going to take care of that negative 1 until the very, very end. No, you have your choice of what you want to multiply first. If you want to take the blue times the purple, you can. If you want to take the pink times the blue, you can. The order is not important as long as you get all the terms. I'm going to concentrate on the pink with the blue. So x squared times x squared gets us x to the 4th. X squared times 4 gets us 4x squared. Inside, 2x times x squared gets us a positive 2x cubed. 2x times 4 gets us a positive 8x. 1 times x squared gets us plus x squared. And 1 times 4 gets us 4. We took 3 terms, which were pink, times 2 terms in the blue. 3 times 2 gets us 6. Notice I have 6 terms before combining like terms, and that is a way to double check that you haven't missed any of your multiplications. Combining like terms and writing in descending order, I'm going to have x to the 4th plus 2x cubed plus 5x squared. These are the only things that actually combined, my 4x squared and my x squared. Plus 8x plus 4. I know this is long, it's tedious, but it could be a lot worse. We're at the second to last step. Let's go ahead and multiply our terms out. Leaving my negative 1 along for the ride. So x to the 4th times x gets me x to the 5th. X to the 4th times negative 4 gets me negative 4 x to the 4th. You don't have to draw these arrows. A lot of students like having the arrows because it tells them what they have connected and multiplied. So 2x cubed times x gets us plus 2x to the 4th. If we take 2x cubed times negative 4, we get negative 8x cubed. We're on to the 5x squared. 5x squared times x gets us positive 5x cubed. And 5x squared times negative 4 gets us a negative 20x squared. We're almost done. 8x times x gets us a positive 8x squared. 8x times negative 4 gets us negative 32x. We're in the home stretch. 4 times x gets us plus 4x. And 4 times negative 4 gets us negative 16. Man. Let's go ahead and combine our like terms. And then we'll distribute the negative 1. The cool thing about the way we multiplied, all of our like terms are right next to each other. So the x to the 4th are together. The x cubes are together. The x squareds are together. And the x's are together. So combining and keeping in descending order, we're going to have x to the fifth, and negative 4 plus 2 gets us a negative 2, x to the fourth. We have negative 8 plus 5, which gets us a negative 3, x cubed. Negative 20 plus 8 gets us a negative 12, x squared. Negative 32 plus 4 gets us a negative 28, x minus 16. Very, very last step. We need to distribute that negative 1 all the way through all of our terms. But don't despair. That just means that we are going to make everybody's sign change. So we're going to have a negative x to the fifth plus 2x to the fourth plus 3x cubed plus, changing everybody's signs, 12x squared plus 28x plus 16. Okay. So we have a fifth degree polynomial because standard form, highest exponent is 5. And it does have a negative leading coefficient, which was required. And if we look back at the very beginning of this problem, notice that we did have 5 as our degree because 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 gets us 5. So we found our polynomial if you drop one sign or make one arithmetic error. These problems will be the bane of your existence. So please just make sure that you watch your signs, double check your arithmetic because you don't want that one small error to throw off the entire problem.